Hello, class. During the workshop, I received a lot of questions about Eric's death, and it wasn't altogether clear, so I'm deciding to read the excerpt in which I detail the fatal fall. And I also updated the section name to drop out because they dropped out of high school and he fell. You get it. All right. I'm going to start from where he stage dives. I love you, Pittsburgh, he shouted as he leapt back first into the crowd. Catch me! Some people got the memo and managed to put their hands up in time to support his legs and arms. Clearly burdened by the sudden weight to carry, they began to pass him off further into the crowd. He began to drift off to an unaware section of the crowd who were more concerned with clearing space for a mosh pit. I was nearing the tail end of my final verse, but I cut myself off to let them know he was coming. Oh, don't drop him, I said with a laugh. But they weren't listening. Waiting on the beat drop, they just stared forward at their fellow concert goer, only concerned with careening into each other. My expression fell as I stared off in horror to see Eric continue to get carried to a spot where no hands were up to catch him, causing him to drop neck first into the empty area designated for moshing. And then the beat dropped. I don't know what the DJ was doing, but the music didn't stop. I saw an overwhelming mass of people swarm over where his body must have been lying on the floor. Maybe some people noticed, but anyone stooping down to help him up was sure to get knocked over. I started screaming that they need to stop, that Eric needs medical attention, that someone needs to make sure he's okay. But they didn't listen. Even with a mic in hand, I felt voiceless to the crazed crowd, who seemed to only be controlled by the rhythm of the beat. Eventually, I tossed the mic aside and charged through the crowd to find my friend, pushing aside anyone in my path until I made it to the pit which had swallowed him whole. The song had finally finished at the same time, and people were initially excited to see that I had jumped into the crowd, but before anyone could go in for a handshake, I startled them with a shout. "Where's Eric?" I cried at the top of my lungs. At the crowd's confusion, I clarified, "The guy who jumped into the crowd!" They didn't even know his name. At this, their gaze shifted towards a crumpled heap on the floor. I knelt next to him and cried hysterically, not daring to turn his face-down head for confirmation, not willing to make this real. I wept for the several agonizing minutes it took for medical attention to arrive, having already checked his pulse. Not being one to count on miracles, I returned to my tour bus bed and laid awake all night. The next day, I found the headline which confirmed the worst. Rapper Eric Jackson pronounced dead due to fatal trampling at concert.